Hello, everyone. I'm still working on my short film about a mouse who brings a painting to an art show and ends up trading paintings with a new friend. In the last video, I showed you how I made some insert shots, and I mentioned that I wanted to do more work on this back wall. This wall is an example of what we call scenery. In film, scenery is just any architecture or landscape we can see on screen. So the backdrop with the sky and ocean on it that I showed you in an earlier video is a piece of scenery. And so are the buildings in this scene. One thing scenery can do is help us know where a scene is taking place, in this case, inside the mouse's home. I'm also going to include a bookcase, and that is an example of set dressing. Set dressing refers to smaller objects that are visible but don't come directly into the action of the scene. The wall and the doorway and the bookcase are details that we'll see in the background when the mouse hangs the painting. When you draw a picture of something, do you like to draw a background too? I really like drawing pictures to tell stories, and details in the background can give the audience information about the character or the action of the story or the setting, the place where it's happening. For example, if I draw a dog, depending on what I draw in the background, the dog may be on a busy city sidewalk, or in a treehouse, or inside by a cozy fire. Or I could make the background blank and leave it up to the viewer's imagination. Now, thinking about what the mouse's house is like, I'm going to make a stairway visible through this doorway. Actually, I'm just going to create 3 steps. That will be enough to create the effect of a stairway in the audience's imagination. As long as we don't see where the steps stop, we'll naturally assume they go all the way to a second floor. I'm thinking that the upstairs of the mouse's house is where the bedroom is, and that the mouse's writing desk is up there too. On the walls of the stairway, I'd like to make wainscoting and wallpaper. Wainscoting is a kind of decorative woodwork on the lower half of a wall. The wallpaper will go above that. I'm going to glue down these toothpicks to make a beadboard design on the wainscoting. So I'll have to cut each one to the right size. For the railing and baseboard, I'll use some paint stir sticks. They're made of pine wood. They're easy to cut, and they come in very handy for projects like this. I'll carve the components separately and glue them together on the cardboard base. I think the mouse lives in a house that is small, very comfortable, and generally modest, but with a few fancy details like the wainscoting in the stairwell. I don't think it's a new home. I suppose other mice have lived in it before this mouse. I wonder how long this mouse has lived in it. That doesn't come into the story of my short film. It's just fun to think about. When I've cut the wood pieces at the proper angles, they fit together like a puzzle. I'll use a drafting triangle to get the toothpicks lined up at a 90-degree angle to the railing. I don't know how real beadboard wainscoting is made. I'm just thinking about how it looks and copying the shapes that make up the design. I'm not sure if we'll ever see this short side of the stairwell, but I built it just in case. When the wainscoting is all put together and the glue is dry, I'll put a coat of white paint on it as a primer. I thought I could use fabric as the wallpaper. To choose a color scheme, I'll choose one that looks best with the colors of the mouse puppet. It's fun to think about the mouse picking out a wallpaper design. It's hard to choose because it could be any of them really, but I think I'll go with this green floral pattern. So I'll paint the wainscoting a green color that will go well with the wallpaper. Once I've glued the fabric onto a piece of cardboard, I'll glue the wainscoting on top of that. Now to make the steps. I've carved them to look a little worn in the center. I'll paint them, and then sand them down in the middle so it will look like the stairs have been used a lot, and add a little more paint to make them look worn and well used, so the home looks lived in. I'm making a box all around it so that I can light it with a lamp, as if there were a light in the stairwell that the mouse could turn on and off. I cut one small hole in the box though, in order to operate the mouse's tail on a rod. The puppet isn't designed to walk on steps, but it can go through the doorway. And if I then cut to the shot of the tail just going out of view, our imagination will do the rest, and the result will be a scene where the mouse goes upstairs. Now that I've finished making the scenery, I can focus on the set dressing, and I'll tell you about that in the next video.